Something about you feels so different. Yeah, you mess me up inside. It's like your energy was kissing my soul back to life, was living. Now it feels like every part of me is dying. Yeah, you're gone without a trace. You left me where no one can find me. There's no sign of life out here. I scream and it goes silent. I fight so hard, but I can't find my way out. Lost all dimension and time. I think I'm losing my mind. And this goes down. Every message that I send you, you just leave them all unread. Now every part of me is hurting. Cross my heart, I don't deserve this. Loved you just for you to harm me in the end. Yeah, you're gone without a trace. You left me where no one can find me. There's no sign of life out here. I scream and it goes silent. I fight so hard, but I can't find my way out. Lost all dimension and time. I don't think I'm losing my mind. And this goes down.
Yes, absolutely do that. Subscribe. Come here all the time. Hang out. Get to know the chat. Get to know these wonderful gatekeepers. Get to know these fantastic mods. You know, this is an acquired taste kind of a podcast because it's definitely not produced by anything other than myself and whatever spirit might be running through here to cause some kind of mischief, because we do have stuff happen. We had stuff pretty much get shut down last night. Everybody was good. And then Lynn, my co-host, she wanted to talk about some stuff she had going on. And I said, all right, not a problem. Let's do it. We do it last minute. She says, I'm not feeling too good. Shit, but let's do it. And I said, okay, I'm pretty good. And within 15 minutes, she had an allergic reaction. Her face, just God bless her, just started swelling up. Just horrible for anybody to go through. And I pulled my back out. So somebody didn't want us to do that show last night. How y'all doing? And all we're just going to do is talk about some fairies and elementals and, wonderful news, Mud. Glad to see it. So it doesn't mean that we're not going to do the show. It was just like, let me just throw something together. Wonderful Ted had sent me as a lovely gift The House That Would Not Die with Barbara Stanwyck. Absolutely fantastic movie. I said, I have that in the hopper. Let me throw that up. And I was laying flat on my back. I had to ask all the mods, go check and see if we're still on the YouTubes, because Lord knows we get shut down there so easy. How y'all doing? We had a great time. We just kept going. You can't stop the train. You might knock it off track a little bit. We might take a detour, but we continued on, and we all stayed together and watched that wonderful movie. That's such a great ghost learning movie. If you're interested at all in haunted houses and how actual hauntings actually occur, how they get stirred up, how they, what they're capable of. The House That Would Not Die with Barbara Stanwyck, whoever wrote that story, went through it. That's all I can say. And we're very honest about their experience, because it was absolutely amazing. It comes full circle. It's a fantastic story. Those who saw it with me last night, what did you think of that movie? You liked it? Mud, I'm so glad you got to see it. Salvador, it's good to see you in here. Welcome in, welcome in. Welcome, Mud. Welcome, Ted. It is a classic. 70, I believe. I believe you're correct on that, Ted. And thank you again for that. We all really enjoyed it. It's over there on Rumble. It's marked, I think, still on Rumble as you don't know me. I guess that's a play on you don't own me. I don't know. Yesterday was crazy, like I said. Coincidence? Who knows? But it was excellent, Chris, wasn't it? Wasn't it so good? I mean, the acting was good. The guy's creepy, but I guess that adds to the ambiance of it. Barbara Stanwyck, snappy dresser, as per usual. Her wardrobe, I believe she had a wardrobe group of like 12 people, something. She wore a lot of herringbone, didn't she, Chris? She was really sporting that herringbone. The gloves, of course, which are, if you're going to slap somebody, a pair of kid gloves, just saying. Puts that extra sting on there. There was a lot of people get slapped in that movie, rightfully so, I'd say. That's just my opinion. But Salvador, it's over there if you want to watch it, hun. And I'm so glad to see you, and that you're doing well. And so glad when you pop in here to let us know that you're still out there in ether somewhere with your wonderful smile and your great heart. Yeah, wasn't he creepy? He was. I can't remember his name. Ted, do you remember his name off the top of your head? Very square-headed dude. I mean, if there was ever a man that looked like he was one of those rock'em sock'em robots, he really was something else. But anyway, and the young girl, bless her heart, she's just batshit crazy. And I think she was a little cracked before she got there, but that's all right. Go some push on your cracks, and that's probably what happened. And the young man, I just kept saying in the chat, the young man's going to sort it all out. Just wait. He's going to figure it out. He's going to research at the library. He's going to get up in the attic. He's going to get down in the basement of this old house, and he's going to sort it all out, and Barbara did a great job. So go watch it. The House That Would Not Die. Excellent ghost movie. I believe I was 9 when I first saw it, and the significance of last night sharing it with all the people in the chat and everything. I'm remembering parts of it. Now, of course, I've seen it since then, but it's been a long time. And I'm remembering things that I was, almost thinking, having flashbacks when I was like, 9 years old, cross-legged on the daggone floor watching this on the big Zenith, back in the day. And I remember the moment that I knew what I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. I wanted to have my hand in the paranormal, in ghost communication, in understanding ghosts and hauntings. I was so excited that if somebody did a movie like this, not just a funny Abbott and Costello, falling down the stairs, people going in and out the wall that moves and the organ playing by itself and all that kind of stuff, an actual story that had some meat on the bone, pardon the pun, meat on the bones. Never mind. So, and full circle with a reasonable story and quite frightening, if you ask me. I don't think anything scared me more as a kid, sitting there watching that and hearing that guy, the ghost in the background in the woods in the middle of the night, Amy, come home. I never forgot it. I don't think I slept for 2 weeks, not heard that voice, and it was the first one that really brought together a lot of the aspects, the cold wind blowing, the feeling that something's different in the room, something's changed in the room. I love how it opens, and you are the ghost, right? I don't know if you guys caught that, but you are the ghost from the very first start of that movie, and you're moving through that house as the ghost, going up to the window, looking out at the people pulling up in the driveway, getting out of the car, wondering what's going on, that kind of thing. It's just wonderfully done. Can't recommend it enough. And there's someone else who did movies like this. Now, they were of a different feel, but I'll tell you what, I had such a good time studying Mr. Vincent Price. At first, I was doing it with Steve. Steve, God bless you. I hope you're listening tonight. My love out to Nick and Holden and Steve, who all have some kind of creeping crud. So many people I'm hearing in this chat has it. I'm telling you, raw garlic, get out your claw. If you're taking claw and you're still this bad, you're not taking it. You're not taking enough of it. And as regular, every 4 hours for a minimum, if you're trying to fight off something like this, every 4 hours, don't miss, and you have to get up in the middle of the night and take that one. That is the ticket, because you can't have that kind of expansion of hours between. Think about it like an antibiotic. Think about it like that. You would have to take it and keep fighting. So if you're fighting a war and your soldiers are up at the front lines and they're just constant, hot barrel fighting, they're just keeping that, they're just burning belts. You know what I mean? They're just keeping the ammo flowing, right? And all of a sudden, they're holding off the bad guys. In fact, they're moving them back. That's bacteria. That's your infection. That's those nasty microorganisms that are making you sick. And your antibodies are in there fighting, and you're giving them these bullets. And then all of a sudden, you just decide to quit for 8 hours while you sleep. And meanwhile, your guys are getting overrun because even the wounded are moving up closer to the line, and they don't have any more bullets to shoot until you get your butt up and take more claw and more raw garlic and keep up your sovereign silver. Notice I didn't just say colloidal, I said sovereign silver. They do not promote this show. Nobody pays me. There's not some like garlic gardener, slipping me a $5 to keep telling you to eat raw garlic. Mix it in a salsa. Mix it with olive oil, red wine vinegar, or red wine. Get some cayenne pepper in there. Fresh if you can. Always go fresh if you can. Always go organic if you can. And get that in your system multiple times throughout the day. Breathe the fumes. The fumes have to touch what is killing. Get it up in your head. Get it up in your sinuses. Is any of this making sense? Is any of this getting through? I'm telling you right now. Some guys, I get frustrated because I'll say, well, did you take? Yeah. I ate a clove yesterday. Okay. I told you multiple times throughout the day, make a salsa. It's easy to make a salsa. Add a little fresh garlic to the Tupperware every time. Take out 2 to 3 tablespoons. Eat it with some chips. Take your vitamin C and rock on. But eat that daggum salsa with fresh chopped raw garlic in it. I tell people, they say, we had spaghetti last night. I'm like, not the same. I'm going to put on some gloves. And I'm going to start Barbara Stanwyck. Do you see what I mean? It's so frustrating because I know it can make you better. And so many people I know are sick. And so many people are, stay in front of that train. All right. So here's a man that I actually heard in an interview this week say, he was talking about all the different roles he's had and how he got his start. And I have to admit to you, I absolutely think I fell in love with Vincent Price this week. If I hadn't before, I always admired him. And, I would think back over all the movies and, I'd get flashes of the different scenes that I remembered seeing as a kid and growing up. I mean, he's been there my whole lifetime. Unfortunately, we lost him in the early 90s. But he started so early. and stayed so prolific and stayed involved and just wanted to work and would take these parts that some people would see as beneath them, or it wasn't Shakespearean, it wasn't this or that, it wasn't this director and these stars or whatever, and make it his, and make these roles his, and just did not look down his nose at a part. He gave it everything he had, no matter what he was doing. And I think he did that in life too. And I call this Vincent Price a life well lived, because at the end of the week, that's what I'm feeling. This is what I'm feeling. Hey, Bri, how you doing, Tony? The same, very similar to when I did Lon Chaney. And I felt like he was right here. There were times this week Vincent was popping in and out. He was definitely paying attention. It was incredible. So how did he get his start? What type of family raises an individual that could be one of the kings of horror to so many Americans, to so many people around the world, synonymous with, but did 100 movies, just movies. That's not including animations, narrations, the written word. He's written several books, several of them on cooking, I think 3, and some others. To be a fantastic art. He was an art critic. He got his master's in art from Yale, and then decided to take a little part in a little play called Chicago in London, 33, I believe. We'll have the dates here in a minute, but just off the top of my head, incredible, right? So he decides to take this little sidestep. He's tall, he's skinny, he carries himself well, he's very well mannered, can play any part, as far as if he's joking and clowning around, or if he's very serious, or if he's the psychopath in the room, or if he's the straight guy. He could do all of that. He got the part because he could chew gum and walk at the same time. And when I heard that, I just stopped and I said, wow, that's so funny. Is that the origin? What is the origin of that statement? I love origin, stories. But supposedly, of course, the play Chicago is it's about gangsters. Gangsters chewed a lot of gum and made it very popular. We studied it in the Chicago World's Fair. I think it was 1893, right, or 1923. There was 2 of them. I think it was the 23, where they started introducing different flavors, the Wrigley's and the Adams Company, right? So he's chewing gum like a gangster, and he can walk and he can keep acting. So the director says, that one, he can chew gum and walk at the same time. That was also made real popular too by, I think it was LBJ or somebody else later on. And we'll never really know the origin of that, but I just thought that was so cool. And Vincent was just that way. He was smooth, suave, debonair. He was the ladies' man. He was a man's man. He was the thinker. He was the wisecracker. He was the kind of man who could put you down and you'd almost thank him, because it was just so sharp. Kind of like a Ben Franklin with a little bit of je ne sais quoi. He had, that was it. He got the acting bug and he ran with it after that. Now, there was an awful lot of early movies, one of them being one of his favorites, and that was Laura, where he's playing these straight characters, or he might even be playing the criminal, or that gangster kind of feel. Keep in mind, when you're seeing him doing stuff in the 50s, he's already been doing it for 20, 25 years. What an amazing life he had. And he kept at it and he kept going. I think he just never wanted to run out of money. Money was, it wasn't that he was materialistic. He was raised in a wonderful house. I've seen it. And his parents, his dad ran a factory, a candy company. We'll get that information in more detail here in a minute. but they had money. He was well raised, raised well. He went to a, a good school, and then like you said, got good grades. Loved to hang out with his buddies and his friends, and kind of a little bit of a practical joker, but always with class, never too far. He didn't like, as odd as it sounds, as one of the kings of horror. He never really liked the gore and the blood and the madness. When things started in the 70s to get a little bit crazy, back when he was doing that one with the Witchmaker, the Worm Turns, or whatever the heck the name of that movie was, where he was the witch hunter. He was really starting to get disappointed in the route some of the movies were taking. He wasn't a slasher kind of guy. He was more of a build-up kind of theatrical, imagine it to happen kind of thing. So very interesting character. Married 3 times, 2 children, a boy and a girl, 2 separate marriages. Wonderful dad. Used to love to take his son to one of those people that took the kids to the boardwalk, to the park, to the rides. He used to love to go on what he called the roller coaster. He called it the roller coaster. Fantastic, amazing cook. Absolutely loved to cook. But one of the things that they said about Vincent Price early, when he was in his, now he's getting parts now at 22, that one in Chicago. That's young, right out of college, right out of Yale, was going to go to the art world, right? Loved fine art, loved everything about art. And at 22, he got his startup. So this man was not like the others I'm hesitating because it wasn't in Hollywood. It was more like in the theater scene. When he started getting to the movies, it's getting a little bit more towards the Hollywood scene. But everybody would be surprised that he would be living in a small, understated, little cabin compared to these big mansions other people were, or in a 2-room, well-kept, very neat apartment that just had the necessities. But on all the walls would be all this art. At 13 years old, he saved enough money. He wanted a piece of art down at the whatever department store there was in town. And being that his parents, most of his family were business people, he was learning how to handle money. And he went down with his own money. And I think he put, a small amount of money to hold the painting. And he worked all summer to buy an original piece of art and to hang in his room at 13. This is how much he loved art. And he never stopped. He was a curator for art. There's some amazing things coming up about Vincent Price. So let's take a little look at something familiar about Vincent that we all might recognize. But hang on one second here. Isn't that something? What's going on? Somebody get hurt in chat? I want to be sure everybody's okay. What's happening, Mud? Somebody hit a knee or something? What's awful? Uh-oh. I'm afraid to find out. Never play trivia with Ted. Ted, did you do something? Have you heard someone in chat? Is he getting out of hand, guys? Mods? Is he going around with a stick whacking people in the shins again? All right. Yes, that's true. His voice, amazing voice. So many things. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later on with what he was doing. With that, like I said, he stayed so busy and he was just amazing. And the things his friends said about him too were, I need to get some more hot water for my tea. So let's look at something from him right here. I want you to see a little piece of, which doggone, I'm already hitting the wrong buttons. Ted, put your seatbelt sign up. I mean, if I'm hitting the wrong buttons already, it's going to be a bumpy ride, okay? So get the seatbelt sign up. All right, let's see here. I think this is it. I want you to see, ask yourself if you were going on, what do you call it, an audition. And they said, well, we want to know if you can you laugh? We need a laugh that kind of shows that you might be hanging on to the last threads of sanity, and we're almost welcoming the rush of madness that all happens during this laugh. If someone asked you to do that, could you? I found this and I said, Vincent can. Watch this. Oh, shoot, that's not it. Doggone it. That was such a good opening, too. All right, let me go back and find it. Doggone it. You might want to have them put the trays up, too, Ted. This could get ugly. All right. No, not that one. Come on. I'm going to find the right one. Yep, got it. Ha, here we go. Isn't that something? I mean, just look at how he gradually builds it up. I mean, this is hard to pull off. It's just kind of letting it go. Just welcoming the madness and the relief. I think this is from Last Man on Earth. I could be wrong. Pretty good, huh? Okay. So there's that one. And I picked that, like I said, just to show you that small little, we're so used to watching huge productions now. And when you go back and you look something that was done, we do it a lot on this channel, look back at 1944, 30s, you know, and the amount of acting, the amount of talent. Nowadays, these kids are all auto-tuned and there isn't even an instrument on the damn stage. Everybody's pushing buttons and electronic drums and God only knows what sampling. The hell is that? You know, this is talent, and there's so much more to appreciate with Vincent Price too, because he was just as cool on the outside, you know, outside of behind the curtain as he was in front of it. And I think the only thing I could find that he did, I think he fell in love when he was still married, you know, after 26 years. Okay. You want to call that a scandal? It was a scandal. He got a divorce and he married the one he fell in love with. I mean, you know, in today's world, you know, but he wasn't a swindler. You couldn't find anybody that had a bad word to say about him, that he was a conniver or a jerk to work with or anything like that. He was there. He knew his lines. He was on cue. He was on spot. He was professional. And I loved that I think Roger Corman said, and I have the quote in here somewhere, he was the epitome of the Irish saying, you know, he was a darling man. And I think that was one of the best compliments you could ever hear about somebody. And I never heard anything that fit Vincent Price so well. And I would have just loved to, you know, had a drink or two with him. But here we go. I made a little video. You know I did. But here he is right here. This is the man we're talking about. And Joan Rivers, a very good friend to you know, till his death, and then not soon, long after she died herself. But they were lifelong friends, and she called him Vinny. And she said Vincent was as delightful off screen as he was on, a true gentleman with a wickedly sharp sense of humor. And that's Joan Rivers saying that. So, that had to be pretty cool. Now, his middle name was Leonard. So Vincent Leonard Price Jr. Now, Steve was supposed to be here. So I'm sorry I can't read it like Steve does. But because he's homesick, we wish him just get better. Eat the garlic, do the things. You know the stuff. You know it. You know how to do it, Steve. He was born on May 27th, 1911, a year after my Nana. She was born in 1910. October 25th, 5 days before Halloween in 1993. He was an American actor, art historian, art collector, and gourmet cook. He appeared on stage, television, and radio, and in more than 100 films. Price has 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, one for motion pictures and one for television. And here's a little video. This one's running about 10 minutes or so. That'll give you a little bit of an overview of the man we're talking about tonight. Least we can do is celebrate it. Look at all these movies. A Life Well Lived. Look at this. There he is. 10 Commandments. You remember him being in that one? 1956. And The Fly. Oh my goodness. The original Fly played the brother. Scarred Me. for life when I saw this. And who doesn't know House on Haunted Hill? We just watched that not too long ago on our channel, right? He loved doing that movie. Just loved it. And the Tingler, how silly it was, he said. But he played it with all he had. They put little buzzers under the seats so we go to zzz, zzz, and the crowd loved it. House of Usher. Right? Name that one. Look at that. Mask of the Red Death. Tomb of Ligeia. The Raven. That's funny. If you haven't seen The Raven, you need to watch it. Witchfinder General. Haunted Palace. These are some of his voiceovers. Last Man on Earth. Wow. That was really something. That was almost like a Twilight Zone feel, that movie. And this is where he started doing the silly campy ones. The Dr. Goldfoot, the Bikini Machine, House of $1,000. He had robot girls that would blow up. I forget the name of it. You know, some of them were so campy, but he kept working, and he made it the best he could. He really did. And some of his Poe work and his so many albums, reading ghost stories and narrating old folklore and just wonderful stuff. And I love Tim Burton's Vincent. Have you seen it? House of Long Shadows, Peter Cushing. I saw this just yesterday, The Whales of August. Highly recommend it. Just a wonderful, wonderful movie about, these people in Maine, in a small fishing village. And his last work was Edward Scissorhands. Tim Burton basically wrote the part for him. Thought the world of him. And The House of Wax, 1953, which we will be watching tonight after the show. The Mask of the Red Death. Absolutely fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. I just love him. I'm telling you. I I could sit and talk with him for hours and just the I got to see him on a lot of the talk shows, the Merv Griffins, the Mike Douglas, the Johnny Carsons, and to come out and watch him cook or watch him talk about a book he had just done. He did an awful lot for the Indian community through their art. He I have information here. I'll tell you about where his museum is. He donated so many of his pieces to the museum, um, for the college, for the young artists to be able to go to the museum and to learn. He would go and buy art from unknown artists and display them in his gallery and give them, props. It was just, what an amazing man. He did the same with food. His daughter was telling the story of how the friends would get together, with he and his wife, his third wife, his later wife, and she loved to cook as well. And they would go and rent an RV, one of these wonderful RVs, and have a couple of their friends over, and they would get all the food together, and then they would get in the RV and just drive to the beach or a place like that, or the park, and park it and just have a wonderful dinner, candles and the whole works, and just experience lovely company and lovely food, and take their time and conversation, and then just pack everything up and go back and go home, be done. They would do wonderful things like this. They love to spend the time on the little things, and that's why I highly recommend the movie, The Whales in August. It's available on YouTube, and he has a wonderful part in it. And Betty Davis is in it as well, and some others. You're going to love it. And it's, like I said, just a small little fishing village, and he's there, and just real people dealing with the later part of life, and in their space. It's an amazingly well done, very much like an On Golden Pond kind of thing, but he does a wonderful job in it. So I'd love for you, if you were going to watch his last works in life, to add that to your viewing. And the Edward Scissorhands, to listen to Tim Burton speak about how important it was to have him in there, how this was just, barely 2 years before he passed. He was already very sick and fighting, but he was there. He was solid professional. He could see him struggling with a few things, and he would just give him all the time and let him go through it, because like the Tim Burton quote you just saw there, to Tim Burton, Vincent Price was a god. And when he agreed to do the narration of his short film, Vincent, Tim Burton was over the moon. Have you seen it? Would you like to? Cisco got you back. Again, mods, if YouTube shuts us down, just let me know. I'll cut it off here, and we'll just deal with Rumble and Facebook. And I'm going to start hitting buttons again, but let me see if I can find it for you. I would love for you to see this. I don't know why this stuff doesn't stay in order. I think I got it. Here we go. Tim Burton's Vincent.
Vincent Malloy is 7 years old. He's always polite and does what he's told. For a boy his age, he's considerate and nice. But he wants to be just like Vincent Price. He doesn't mind living with his sister, dog, and cats, though he'd rather share a home with spiders and bats. There he could reflect on the horrors he's invented. wander dark hallways alone and tormented. Vincent is nice when his aunt comes to see him, but imagines dipping her in wax for his wax museum. He likes to experiment on his dog, Abercrombie, in the hopes of creating a horrible zombie. So he and his horrible zombie dog could go searching for victims in the London fog. His thoughts, though, aren't only of ghoulish crime. He likes to paint and read to pass some of the time. While other kids read books like Go, Jane, Go, Vincent's favorite author is Edgar Allan Poe. One night, while reading a gruesome tale, he read a passage that made him turn pale. Such horrible news he could not survive, for his beautiful wife had been buried alive. He dug out her grave to make sure she was dead, unaware that her grave was his mother's flower bed. His mother sent Vincent off to his room. He knew he'd been banished to the Tower of Doom, where he was sentenced to spend the rest of his life alone with the portrait of his beautiful wife. While alone and insane, encased in his tomb, Vincent's mother burst suddenly into the room. She said, "If you want to, you can go out and play. It's sunny outside and a beautiful day." Vincent tried to talk, but he just couldn't speak. The years of isolation had made him quite weak. So he took out some paper and scrawled with a pen, "I am possessed by this house and can never leave it again." His mother said, "You're not possessed and you're not almost dead. These games that you play are all in your head. You're not Vincent Price, you're Vincent Malloy. You're not tormented or insane, you're just a young boy. You're 7 years old and you are my son. I want you to get outside and have some real fun." Her anger now spent, she walked out through the hall. And while Vincent backed slowly against the wall, the room started to sway, to shiver and creak. His horrid insanity had reached its peak. He saw Abercrombie, his zombie slave, and heard his wife call from beyond the grave. She spoke from her coffin and made ghoulish demands, while through cracking walls reached skeleton hands. Every horror in his life that had crept through his dreams swept his mad laughter to terrified screams. To escape the madness, he reached for the door, but fell limp and lifeless down on the floor. His voice was soft and very slow as he quoted The Raven from Edgar Allan Poe. "And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore."
How cool was that? That was just so wonderful. And the thing about it is everything was cheeky. Everything you could almost hear in his voice, whether he was narrating a wonderful story like that, or in one of his parts that he was playing, you could hear the smile in his voice, like behind, I had this dog once, and unfortunately he bit a lot of people. They all deserved it. But, and I know that sounds awful. We're not going to debate it. I was there. They deserved it. So, but anyway, he always used to wag his tail when he bit you. So it was kind of a lure from the spider, into this web, because he was a beautiful dog. And people would come at him and go, "Oh, is he pretty? Does he bite?" And I'm like, "He's so happy." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. Yes, he does." And no, you can't, right? But, his tail's wagging. He's so happy. There was this cop once that just would not take no for an answer. But anyway, it took a lot of work, but it worked out okay in the end. But anyway, his tail was just going. This reminds me of Vincent Price. He's happy to bite you. When you hear him in his interviews, people say, "Well, do people come up and often, ask you for your autograph? How are the crowds when you're out and about?" And he never took, he always had time for the fans. He would stop and spend, he loved to talk to people. He was one of those that he would stop and give you his autograph. He said the funny part about it was that they'd come up to him and say, "Aren't you Boris Karloff?" And he would say, "Yes, I am." And, and he said, they'd ask him for his autograph and he'd sign it Peter Lorre or something like that. And he'd just smile, "Have a wonderful night. Oh, it's wonderful to me," and just go on about it. And he got the biggest kick out of stuff like that. I did that once. Somebody thought I was Rod Stewart. It's a long story. We're in this limo. These girls come running up and they're just beating on the thing. And I'm like, just, roll down the window a little bit, put the pad, and I signed it Rod Stewart and pushed it back out, made their whole night. But anyway, they never saw me because the dark windows. But anyhow, I digress. He was that kind of, actor. He was that kind of man. He was that kind of conversationalist. But then he could talk so serious about things he really, cared about. And I want you to, meet that guy too. So the next thing I've got for you is a little piece of a short biography about him, to give a little bit of how he got this way. Where did he get that foundation of that debonair kind of Cary Grantish kind of, believe me, he could pull that off. Genuine gentleman, genuine love for the finer things without being shallow and materialistic. That's hard to pull off. You know what I'm saying? And he did, amazingly so. Let's see here. I know it's here. Okay, let's watch. All right, if I can't find that one, I'll do this one. This one, to show you his range. This isn't the first movie he did. This is from 1944. When you ask Vincent what movies he was his favorite, this is the one he usually mentions. This one is called Laura. It's a little trailer.
I shall never forget the weekend Laura died. I, Waldo Lineker, was the only one who really knew her. Through me, she met everyone, famous and the infamous. Her youth and beauty, her poise and charm of manner captivated them all. Wherever we went, she stood out. Men admired her. Women envied her. I suppose you're here about the murder? Murder is my favorite crime. I write about it regularly. And I know you'll have to visit everyone on your list of suspects.
You collapsed when you identified the body. Shotgun loaded with buckshot, close range. Not very nice to look at.
It's horrible. My first instinct was to call the police.
Why didn't you?
I don't know.
Is that a sign of guilt or innocence, McPherson?
Waldo, for your own good, I'm warning you to stop implying that I had anything to do with Laura's death.
You're on the list yourself, you know.
Her letters. And her private diary.
Haven't you any sense of privacy?
Murder victims have no claim to privacy.
Have you ever dreamed of Laura as your wife?
That's none of your business.
You better watch out, McPherson, or you'll end up in a psychiatric ward. I don't think they've ever had a patient who fell in love with a corpse.
This is Laura.
5.
You can already start to see a little of that mysterious, detective, is she dead? Is she not dead? Kind of thing seeping in here. Playing gangsters when he was young, 22, getting a part in Chicago, on the stage. So he's already getting that bite. But did you see him in that suit? I mean, you talk about debonair, right? The next one, give you a little idea, is trying to do it as close to the years as possible, because he just starts shooting up after this. Like I said, I had it in order. For some reason, when I do this, StreamYard switches it around, and I don't know why it does that. Okay, here they are. Here we go. All right, so not long after that, this is 59, may not be in order. Let's just do this one. You've got, now keep in mind, he plays the brother. He doesn't play the crazy scientist that's trying to play God and put a fly and something else, do these two things together, and then he's got this machine, remember? And the fly gets in and everything gets screwed up. And it's kind of like his own little Philadelphia experiment where things start melting together and stuff. Just, it terrified me as a kid. This is 1959, The Fly. Little trailer.
Listen. Do you hear? It's coming back, turning the screen into a buzzing, crawling, creeping nightmare of terror. This is the son of the original Fly, daring to explore the forbidden science of transmigration that brought horrible death to his father.
You look as if you've just seen a ghost, old man.
It was the Fly.
Fear that will fasten its choking grip on you, as his weird experiments spawn the twisted monstrosities of a living hell. The Rat Man, whose hands and feet are changed to paws. The living corpse who rose from his coffin. And the return of the Fly, seeking revenge with 1,000 eyes. Smashing anything that stands in his way.
Suppose he does come here. What if Philippe does not have the mind of a human, but the murderous brain of the Fly?
Then he will have to be destroyed.
It's terrifying. Is that not terrifying? Who saw that as a kid and was absolutely just blown away by it? When you see that thing stuck in the web and the kid runs in and he tells, this is the brother of Vincent Price is playing, and they run out and he pushes the child back. He does this dramatic thing and he takes off his shoe and he smashes the spider and the fly because it's yelling, help me. Terrified me as a kid. I never forgot it. I think I saw it once. So if it came out in, what would we say, 59? I was born in 62. I was probably, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around in there when I saw it on Saturday morning, Chiller Theater or something like that on Channel 11 out of Chicago, all right, so I started this. I wanted to say mayhem. We can't have that. I'm a chronic busybody when it comes to people suffering. I can't help myself. And so here's the thing. we can fix this. I don't know what you have around the house, but if you can get it, the prime thing to get, fix this, would be Sovereign Silver, the liquid. Better than that, even one step up, would be the Sovereign Silver gel, because it stays wet longer, and silver only works while it's wet, topically. So you have to keep applying it on a burn or a rash or a chapped lips. Now, once you get it on there, you want to seal it with something. Beeswax is fine. Something soft where you're not pulling at them. Maybe wet it, get it warm under some hot water or something first, so you're not yanking at your lips. But you can put the Sovereign Silver on first, and then you're going to seal it with something, whether it be Vaseline. At that point, you're just sealing what's actually healing you, and then preventing it from getting more. But yeah, I mean, even the ones where you get the cracks on the side of your mouth, man, I did it like 3 times. It was gone. You know how it just heals a little bit, and you open your mouth, you forget, you pop it again. How much do you hate that? That's like a horror in itself. But some, Sovereign Silver, colloidal silver, man. I'm telling you, Sovereign Silver works 3 times faster than any colloidal silver I've ever tried. So, and it heals faster, and it lasts longer. So that's, again, not promoted on this channel. No, not a doctor, not a nurse. Don't even play one on TV. Don't want to. Okay. Back to Vincent Price. He would tell you to use it too. Because, what vampire, what monster wants to be worried about chapped lips? Just saying. It works on any cracks, hands. If you got chapped hands too, same premise. Put it on first, then seal it with something. Okay? Yep. But it is exactly, but the active ingredients in that is the silver. And if you understand that silver works only while it's wet, and that hydrosol, 10 pph hydrosol, works longer, faster, better, stronger, than regular colloidal silver, and it's deoxidified, so you don't turn blue. That's the secret to colloidal silver. Because you can, if you're going to make that stuff in your cellar, you are risking the chance of, turning blue. Like a Smurf, not, navy blue like Wesley Snipes or something. You know what I mean? So I didn't say that. It's just you and I. I never said that out loud. So Wesley's got a sense of humor. Believe me. He did a lot of prison time for the same thing that somebody really famous just got, the exact same thing, just got off for completely. Somebody famous. Used to be in the White House. Not anymore, though. How about that? There you go. So anyhow, Vincent Price, that's who we're talking about. So I think it's amazing to watch him as a young actor, like in this Laura, and it's so many other ones. I mean, gosh, there was 100 of them. You saw the list. And he's pounding them out right early in the 60s. So here's another one. Really put him over the edge. Whoops, wait a minute. That's not it. That's not the I want. Choo-choo. Choo-choo, Ted. We're not doing too bad. I haven't shut the whole showdown yet. Here's the one that really did it. This was 1953. The House of Wax, which we are going to watch tonight after the show. Wow, huh? You're welcome. No charge. Well, this is dramatic, huh? Oh my God. I'm already scared shitless. Get popcorn.
Healthier starts here with Get Covered New Jersey. When life comes at you fast, quality health coverage.
And I'm muted. So what I'm saying is, I don't know what the hell that was. It wasn't a trailer for the movie. I had a trailer for the movie, but I loaded the movie, and I don't want to show you the whole movie now. We're going to watch it after the show. So I'm just going to jump. Just, crazy madman, pretends he's in a wheelchair. He's a psychopath. Pretty girls. He takes people and he steals bodies and dips them in the wax and creates this wax museum. He's out of his mind. It's delightful. You're gonna love it. So let's go to this one. That's like the Wikipedia. What's that one with the tomatoes? All right. See, I don't understand. All right, this one. Here we go. House on Haunted Hill. There we go.
I'm Vincent Price, and you're invited to my party in the house on Haunted Hill, where so far the ghosts have murdered only 7 people. So won't you come and make it 8? You'll see human heads without bodies. Mysterious pools of blood dripping from the ceiling. The walls move slowly in against you. Don't try to escape, you can't. You ready?
No.
Are you ready, dear?
Yes, damn you.
The ghosts are waiting, so won't you join me in the house on Haunted Hill? Hurry, or you'll be late for your own funeral.
Fantastic. That's a flank of Frank Lloyd Wright house. That's why it's just so demented looking. How about that? So that one absolutely put him over and made him start on that whole road to being the horror guy, the guy that was going to make you scream. There's several out there now. You got Boris Karloff, you got Peter Cushing, you've got Christopher Lee, got all these guys out there doing similar and doing these really campy. Sorry, I just went and got tea. These campy Dracula films and stuff like that. That was all the rage back in the 60s, 70s. 80s started getting a little crazy. But to me, Vincent Price always kept it, I don't know, classy, I guess is the right way to put it. Let's see what else we've got here. I think I found what I wanted to show you earlier. Wanted to show you a little bit about his you know, how he got it, a little bit of his start. And I had a perfect thing in here, but it keeps getting lost. Here we go. Yay, I found it. Here we go. A little bit of this one. And this is from TCM. So it's, you know, it's good quality.
He started as a matinee idol in the 30s, became a character actor in the 40s, and then he mastered horror. Dungeons, dead bodies, skeletons, weird science experiments, bubbling cauldrons. These were Vincent Price's accessories, something he felt quite comfortable around. A character actor who became a character. One raise of his eyebrow, and you knew you were about to be thrilled by a debonair, evil, yet sympathetic villain. I always loved the bad guys in movies. They had the best parts.
I'm going to give the people what they want. Sensation, horror, shock.
Wax. I was just a kid, but the melting figures, the mask covering his burns, stealing bodies from the morgue. This all shocked me, yet inspired my career. Vincent Price was perverse, yes, but he could rob a graveyard, and you thought, well, if Vincent Price is doing it, there must be a good reason for it. As soon as you heard his voice, you had to stop and listen.
I think everyone wonders what they would do if they saw a ghost.
Even in his earliest movies, his voice was instantly recognizable.
You order the guard against my wishes?
I have to, Your Grace. They wait only for a signal from you.
Which I'll never give.
He could read the call sheet for any film, and it would sound scary or suspenseful.
Are you ready, dear?
Sexy, elegant, smart, and a little bit evil. The very best kind of voice you can have.
Suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door.
I actually prayed I would wake up and be Vincent Price.
I think you all remember the bargain we made about staying all night. $10,000 apiece.
A few years later, watching William Castle's House on Haunted Hill, a skeleton emerged from a vat of acid on screen. And at just the right moment, a real skeleton appeared in that sold-out theater of 14-year-old kids and flew over the audience. Pure cinema anarchy ensued. We had just experienced Emergo, Castle's newest gimmick for his latest horror flick, starring the incomparable Vincent Price. This is the exact moment I knew I would end up in show business.
The fear causes tremendous tensions in the body. If you can't relieve those tensions, why can't they become strong enough to kill you?
I'll never forget the scene in The Tingler when he says,
Ladies and gentlemen, please do not panic, but scream! Scream for your lives! It's here! It's over here!
The Tingler crosses the movie screen, and then you see the pitiful thing on the floor and the string pulling it. That shot made me like the movie even more. The crazy cheesiness of it all. Yet Vincent Price is so serious, he doesn't wink at the audience and say, this is beneath us, because it was never beneath us. It elevated us. And to this day, I do believe we all have a tinkler.
The projection booth, quick!
Go ahead, scream right now. I promise you, you'll feel better. Even in sillier movies, Vincent Price was not campy. Campy suggests somebody who's so bad they're good. Vincent Price was so great that he was perfect. That faux British accent that would have been so offensive and affected on other actors was endearing.
Sounds of any degree whatsoever inspire me with terror. The grating of the doorbolt was like a sword stroke to my ears.
Just hearing his character describing the sounds of rat claws.
I can hear the scratch of rat claws within the stone wall.
Oh, what a great line. He was just a fine actor, never pretentious. The audiences that went to see him were all inclusive, from the poorest people to the richest. Nobody disliked him. Vincent Price was classless, even though he was classy. An exaggerated gentleman. He gave upscale a good name, and he was always handsome, dignified, charming, and a little bit sinister. When Vincent Price was a ham, he was in on the joke. He celebrated the ridiculousness of horror, and he could completely hold his own. Even in The Raven, he wasn't upstaged by the likes of Peter Lorre, Boris Karloff, Jack Nicholson, or a talking bird.
I have it. You were under an enchantment.
Took you long enough to find that out.
He levitates in one scene, and as a kid, I pretended I was levitating too. It made me so happy. I always thought that Vincent Price was my friend. Actually, I still do. For Turner Classic Movies, I'm John Waters.
Star of the Month. Star of the Month, Vincent Price. Thursdays this month.
Oh, is that? Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. I'll get it. The hell is that? Oh, okay. All right. I think I sorted it. I think I did. We might be in trouble because now I cannot see my screen. Why? Okay, it's coming back. Hold on. Maybe. All right, let's see if this works. Let's just see if it'll play it. All right. Things have gone strange. Wow. Wow, that was crazy. Everything went nuts. All right. So we lost all our stuff, however. And get some of it back. That's crazy. No clue what that was. I didn't hit any buttons. Just nuts. So I've got a couple more things to show you, and I've got one I can't let go. Before we finish up here, before we finish up here, I want to make sure you get to see, and then I'll go grab that last trailer. And I have no clue if we're up anywhere else. I don't know if we're up on Rumble. Maybe not. Let me check. Yep, there I can see his lovely face on Rumble. Okay, if you're still here, good on you for sticking in, because you never know what's going to happen. I don't know. They have messed up since they've doubled their price. They have messed up so bad. It's almost every time I do a show, and a couple of times I can see I did something, so maybe I hit something, so I wasn't so sure. Tonight was just boom. As soon as that one YouTube video stopped, everything on my side went black, and it didn't just go black. It was like all of StreamYard went black. I could see the chat off to the side, but it was separate, and it was like only half of it, and like half of it was up in the screen. So what's that about? It was like it was splitting apart and going in different directions. And then everything that I had lined up to show you guys just disappeared. And then you couldn't even get out of it unless you just shut the whole thing down and just went back into StreamYard, where you're just kind of starting off with the chats here, but it's a clean canvas. So you don't, anything you were going to show, you have to reload. It's nuts. So it's been doing that. I don't think it's Chrome. I don't think it's my browser. You have to use Chrome with them. Couple of other things, I've used before, and videos drag or whatever. So that's enough of that mess. They took enough of our time. We still have some other things I saved. We're going to be fine. And we have House of Wax afterwards, so we're cool. So if you're still here, good on you. So Vincent, absolutely amazing. The biography, I'm glad you got to see that. All of those different character actor, yes, but it seems like it seems with Vincent Price, anytime you go to describe what type of actor he was, you're always leaving something off. They're always cutting it short. It doesn't quite fill the bill. You know what I mean? So, yep, we did that one. Okay, here's a little bit about his upbringing. He was born on May 27th, 1911 in St. Louis, Missouri. The youngest of 4 children of Vincent Leonard Price, president of the National Candy Company. So they were well-to-do. And his wife, Marguerite Cobb, and she was a Wilcox Price. His grandfather was Vincent Clarence Price, who invented Dr. Price's baking powder, the first cream of tartar-based baking powder, and it secured the family fortune. So this is why he was able to go to school and learn about the finer things and get an appreciation for it. What is confusing to me is usually, stereotypically, people that are brought up like that are snobbish. And he had a way where he could be snobbish at the same time very warm and welcoming without being too shallow. He appreciated the finer things in life, but he was hardworking and he didn't look down on people. I mean, it is an amazing combination of emotions and characteristics, this gentleman. Price was of Welsh and English descent and was a descendant via his father's mother of Pengreen White. Now you recognize that name, Pengreen White. It's an odd name. This was the first child born in colonial Massachusetts, being born on the Mayflower while it was in the harbor at Provincetown. How wild is that? So he's a direct descendant via his father's mother, so his father's side, from this Pengreen White. And if you didn't know that the name of the first American born, well, not American, excuse me, the first, what do you call it, settler that they're counting born via the Mayflower excursion was Pengreen White. I don't know if I'm saying that correct, but I don't know how you can say that and make it sound like a girl's name, but it was a young girl. In 1933, he graduated with a degree in English and a minor in art history from Yale University, where he worked on the campus humor magazine, The Yale Record. After teaching for a year, he was a teacher, so you can see where he's got that calm to me. Wouldn't he have been a lovely teacher? Can you imagine? Thank you. I'm glad I'm back too, Chris. Where he worked on the campus humor magazine, Yale. After teaching for a year, he entered the Courtauld Institute of Art in London. Sorry, I can't pronounce stuff like that. Intending to study for master's degree in fine arts. I wasn't made for Yale. I'm not Yale material. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I mean, he was just blindsided by, the theater. Instead, he was drawn to the theater, first appearing on stage professionally in 1934. His acting career began in London in 1935, performing with Oscar Wilde's Mercury Theater. So he's getting off on a good foot. But, so many things, the opportunity to seem to be there back then, if you could stick with it and you didn't get into being the alcoholic, the pill popper, to get involved with all the women and the carousing and the whole shebang. So many, it took so many down, and he kept busy with this art. I think that was the love of his life, to tell you the truth. He's a wonderful father. He was always very present. I think when he got a divorce from his wife, his son was 8. He was mad he didn't get to spend as much time with him. He really wanted to spend even more time with him, but she got custody. So that was just, that was really tough on him. And he threw himself into his work, but he still kept as much time with his son as he could. So he was even a present father, even, a father that would be excited about taking his kid to the park and calling it, let's go on the roller coaster. I mean, he was just a delightful kind of human being. And then to be so known for the horror and scaring us and everything, it was very cool. Good night, RP. So Price's first film role was a leading man in the 1938 comedy Service Deluxe. He became well known as a character actor, appearing in films such as The Song of Bernadette, Laura, which was, like I said, his favorite, and The Keys to the Kingdom, Leave Her to Heaven, Dragonwyck, which you guys are always mentioning. That was really good. So I haven't seen Dragonwyck yet. I'm going to have to put that on my list. And The Ten Commandments, which I for sure had seen. 1956, that was. Cecil B. DeMille, I believe, Ten Commandments. He established himself as a recognizable horror movie star after his leading role in House of Wax in 1953. He said, I wasn't even born yet. Wow. He subsequently starred in other horror films, including The Fly, House on Haunted Hill, Return of the Fly, The Tingler, which just makes you laugh to say. And that's so funny that they hooked up the seats. They did so much back then. He loved to tell the story when he went on these talk shows about how in House on Haunted Hill, they had that skeleton that they would hook up behind the screen. And at one point in the movie, they would release this skeleton. It would go down over the audience, just zoom in, and everybody would scream and yell and fall over each other. He said it was delightful. And he also used to love to go to the theater when one of his movies was playing, a scary one. And he loved to find a couple girls sitting by themselves and sit behind them and never say anything to the end. And at the very end, into the scary part, he would lean in and say, "Are you enjoying the movie?" Can you imagine how much fun? Oh my gosh, but that's the kind of dude he was. Yeah, Theater of Blood, 1973. I have to see that one too. I remember seeing parts of that, but not the whole thing. He was also known for his collaborations with Roger Corman and on Edgar Allan Poe adaptations such as House of Usher, The Pit and the Pendulum, The Haunted Palace, and The Mask of the Red Death. Price occasionally appeared on television series such as Batman as Egghead. Do you remember him as Egghead with the big skull? And every time he would say something, it was exactly or exuberantly or any of that stuff. I remember him being on Batman. That was crazy. But he did a lot of that stuff. He was appeared, I think, over 950 times on like the Hollywood Squares or one of those. And He actually got into a part of a little bit of a scandal. He was just brilliant and has all this art and so many different things in his head, as far as knowledge. And he was very good at the game shows. And he was on one, I think it was a $64,000 question, but I could be wrong on that. And he got involved in that scandal that came up back then when they were saying that they were giving him the answers behind the scenes. And he was like, oh no, nobody needed to give me any answers. Everybody just said he was showing off, but it was true. He just wasn't that kind of guy. He would have looked down on being that cheap and to cheat like that. He took pride in having the knowledge. But it was one of those things. A lot of people got sucked into that stuff. People were just as shitty back then. So Price also was an art collector and arts consultant with a degree in art history, and he lectured and wrote books on the subject. The Vincent Price Art Museum at East Los Angeles College is named in his honor, and Price was also a noted gourmet cook. He's just incredible. He also did this and so many voiceovers, so many things like, at Christmas time and Halloween, we hear him doing all these narrations on ghost stories and the witch book and just all of these things, and the inflection and the feeling that he put into his voice and in his reading. It was just bar none. We learned tonight about, he only got $20,000 for his narration in Thriller. And he told the story in one of his interviews about how when Thriller came out, and it was crazy all around the world, it was, big in every different country. And after, $20,000 is what he got. Here's your $20,000 and done. He was signed and good to go. Nobody had any idea. He never had any idea when he did these things, what they were going to do, what was going to take and what wouldn't. We got a call from Michael Jackson, said, hey, I got a little part. Would you read it? Kind of very much like the Tim Burton thing. Lord knows, I don't know what he got for that. The little Vincent that we saw. But that's what he signed and got. And, he's told the story about how it hit all this, like 35 million records or something. And Michael Jackson sent Vincent Price. He told this story. If I could find it, I'd play it for you. But he told this story, I think it was on Johnny Carson or one of them. And he said that Michael Jackson sent him a full-size picture of himself, in full Michael Jackson form, and it was a framed poster of him, and on both sides was the picture of the album going gold and platinum. It wasn't the actual album, but it was, that's what he got. And then at the bottom it said, thank you for the success, or something like that. And that's what he got. He didn't get any more money. He was a little miffed by that. You could tell when he told the story, it pissed him off, but he was probably hurt. I can imagine he was probably hurt more than anything else that he didn't write him a check for another, I mean, come on, Thriller, for the love of God, He was so good in Thriller. Yeah, I know. He made that damn album or that song. I mean, the dancing zombies in the video didn't hurt, but, Vincent carried that. All right. Here it is. Price voices villainous Professor Ratigan in Disney's classic animated film, The Great Mouse Detective in 1986. I remember this, and there's a picture of him down there. Then appeared in the drama The Whales of August in 1987. That's the one I recommended to you guys. If you just want a nostalgic, feel-good movie that's not going to rip your heart out or tear up anything or whatever, and really be profound, it's one you're going to remember. It's like along the lines of kind of that Truman Capote, A Christmas Story feel. It's, very like on Golden Pond type feel. It's going to make an impression, but it's not going to drag you, down the emotional roller coaster in Vincent's honor there. Yeah. And he earned an Independent Spirit Award for Best Supporting Male nomination in that one, for Best Supporting Male. Tim Burton's Edward Scissorhands is what he got the Best Supporting Male thing for. His last theatrical release. For his contributions in cinema, especially to genre films, he has received lifetime achievements for special tribute awards from the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films, Fantasporto, Bram Stoker Awards, and Los Angeles Film Critics Association. Should have got more than that, probably. In 1982, Price provided the narrated voice in Vincent, Tim Burton's 6-minute film about a young boy who flashes from reality into fantasy, where he is Vincent Price. That same year, Price provided the spoken word sequence throughout the Michael Jackson song Thriller. Same year, 82. Price, who studied art history at Yale, was an art lover and collector. He was a commissioner of the Indian Arts and Crafts Board. Now, starting to get into my heart. In 1957, impressed by the spirit of the students and the community's need for the opportunity to experience original artworks firsthand, Vincent and Mary Grant Price donated 90 pieces from their private collection and a large amount of money to establish the Vincent Price Art Museum at East Los Angeles College in Monterey Park, California, which was the first teaching art collection. The first teaching art collection. That's an amazing way for, he's, kind of a light worker in horror. I mean, it's amazing. He's like us. Which was the first teaching art collection owned by a community college in the United States. They ultimately donated some 2,000 pieces. The collection contains over 9,000 pieces and has been valued in excess of $5 million. They donated all of that. And that's what I mean too by he found a way. He found something that he loved. He found something that people loved, and he was willing to do it. He was willing to give the people what they wanted, just like he said in House of Wax in 1953. His character says, I'm going to give the people what they want. And perhaps that was not just a line in the movie House of Wax, but maybe that was a line in how he spoke to himself and how he drove himself forward. And he probably learned that early in theater. When he's up there, he said they want the big dance, they want the funny line, they want the charisma and the character, and they the cigarette smoking, they want the guy to get the girl, they want the guy to be mean, whatever it was. I'm going to give them what they want. And he did that all his life, and he did it without losing himself, which is cool. That's an oddity in Hollywood, I believe. And he wasn't laughing at anybody. He kind of leaned into that torpedo of, as you heard the gentleman in the biography say, it was who was Wood, I believe, the director. What's his face? The guy with the little mustache. Another guy with a little mustache. But to be able to do all of that and have a career that spanned that kind of time, and not lose yourself in it, to keep yourself. You were married a couple times. Yeah, there was, like you said in the thing, a scandal. He was married, and again, he managed to hang on to him and to grow and evolve to this kind of degree. And it kind of blew my mind. I had no idea. I do remember him being on shows cooking. I knew about the cookbooks, and he always kind of reminded me a little bit of Graham Kerr, the Galloping Gourmet, back when I was a kid, because they'd come on and they'd drink wine, and they'd had knowledge of the wine and the different things that paired with things, stuff like that. It was way out of, my mom and I were like fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, hot dogs, that kind of thing, because we were a working family. But to see people make it look so fun, there was people who loved to cook, and he was a gourmet cook. That was a big deal back then, especially in the 70s. I think 80s we're starting to lose it. We started to get a little bit more of the celebrity chefs kind of thing, But I was surprised by that. But nothing surprised me more than looking through these. I knew he was a wonderful actor. I had an idea of the range, but this one got me. When I'm flicking through the videos and I find out, hope to God that StreamYard holds together on this. I'm going to click a button, StreamYard. Hang on to your corset, okay? And I find out that Sears hired this man in the late 50s, and it continued on for decades, to be a curator for their art collection. They gave him money and let him travel the world, meeting artists and going and visiting all kinds of different places for pottery and sculpture and, art in Paris, watercolors and oils from new artists and old. And he would purchase things like Gauguin's and Picasso's, and he would meet with these artists, that were out there then, Georgia O'Keeffe and people like this. And Sears hired him to be their spokesperson for the Vincent Price art collection at Sears. And you could take your Sears card, yes, that early in the late 50s, blew my mind. Take your Sears card and go down and get you a print of original art or prints of original art. This is when this started. Again, blows my mind, because I remember going to Sears and seeing, art in framed art hanging, around where they kept the clocks and stuff like that. It wouldn't be a lot of it. And there wouldn't be all these bins where they'd have 10 copies of the thing. They might have had another copy in the back, but most of the time when you bought the painting, it was on that pegboard, and there wasn't reproduced like crazy in the 60s and early 70s. It started getting into the posters, prints, dogs playing poker kind of stuff, hologram Jesus and all that kind of stuff started coming later on. But this is back when it had class, and I thought this would be a treat. I got to show you this. This is amazing. This is their promotional for that. And I think it's just absolutely delightful.
Hello. Perhaps some of you are wondering what I'm doing carrying around a stepladder. Well, let me assure you, I was hanging pictures and not people. But there may be some others of you who know that I have another interest besides movies, and that's an interest in fine arts. And some of you may have read in the papers that Sears is starting a department, a section of fine arts. But before I tell you about this, let me go back about 3 months ago and tell you how it all started. George Struthers and Frank Stover came out to Hollywood one day and asked me if I would be interested in making a collection for the fine arts section of 621. You see, I'm already catching on to your language. Well, I was tremendously excited by this challenge because I have always felt that the fine arts should be brought to the people, to the great numbers of people around this country. And suddenly I was presented with the opportunity to do it in the company that represents more people than any other company in America, and that probably has contact with more American people than any other company. So a lifelong desire of mine was fulfilled, and I was given a white card, a carte blanche to go ahead and form a collection of fine art that Sears could back up with their great guarantees of quality or your money back, and to make it as exciting to you all and to the public. So I accepted the challenge, and I started making a collection of fine arts. Also, I met up with a fellow out in California who worked with me in the Sears store there named Chuck Pearson, who told me a great deal about Sears and what the customers like, what they are like, and showed me something that was very important to me and which I had always believed, was that I must make a collection that would appeal to all kinds of people, to people who had never seen art before, perhaps, to people who were enormously aware of art, all kinds of people. Well, this was indeed a challenge, and I started out in the last 90 days. I've collected about 2,000 paintings. Now, the arts are nothing new at Sears. As you know, in 621, they have been selling reproductions and other kinds of works of art, but never really fine art originals. I believe that reproductions have a great place in the home. They teach and they satisfy a need for decoration. But there is no excitement in the world like the excitement of owning an original work of art. Now, I feel that an awful lot of people suffer under two misapprehensions about art. Number one is that it is not available to them, and number two, that it may cost too much money. And so I found that my problem in forming this collection was to correct these misapprehensions.
Isn't he
To tell
wonderful?
people that art is not something for one class of people, economic class or educated class, but art belongs to everyone. The artist originally created art for all people, not for any special group or any special kind of people. Art is the visual experience of man made exciting by talent. And the talent belongs to that rarest of all individuals, the artist. Strangely enough, Americans will accept this in almost every other field but the visual arts. They will accept it in music. They don't make any comments about someone who was born to write music, though they can't explain it, they don't know it. But the visual artist, the painter, the etcher, is somebody kind of special. So, with your permission, I'd like to give art a little haircut right here. I'd like to assure you that it is not done by strange fellows with long hair who live in attics and wear berets. It is done by extremely disciplined human beings who are trying to allow you, as people, untalented people like myself, trying to allow them to see through their eyes the visual beauty of this world. And so, in your Sears collection, in the Vincent Price collection, as we call it, we have tried to show all kinds of art. Art of the past, art of the present, art that we hope will have a great place in the future. I think probably I can talk to you much better if I have a picture to guide me. If you're like I am, I'm completely visual-minded, and I'll admit it. So let's take a look at the Vincent Price collection, which belongs to you all at Sears and to the American public now. And let me explain to you some of the points that I have tried to make. So let's start by taking a look at this woodcut by Hiroshige, one of the most famous Japanese artists of all time. This is some of the merchandise that you're going to be showing to your customers and that you're going to be selling. I can assure you that we're very proud to have some of these pictures. This is one of the early examples of Hiroshige's famous views. It is wonderfully framed and wonderfully priced. You can be proud to show it to your customers and to sell it.
Now, I wanted you to see up to that point because he wrote that. They gave him carte blanche. This is Vincent as Vincent. This is Vincent at home in his expression of his knowledge of these fine things, whether it was the food that he was cooking for his guests or for somebody else. There's a wonderful story where there was a couple of films. I can't imagine it was the Edgar Allan Poe with Roger Corbin, but it was one of the movie sets where the cast wasn't so well treated. And they, whether it was low budget or whatever, but the caterer often didn't show up. And if Vincent found out that the caterer wasn't going to show up to feed the whole crew lunch, he would very quickly get through his scenes. He would ask to have his stuff done first if he could. Then he would go shopping, he would buy food, and he would come back and cook for the entire cast, for 80 to 100 people. And you just do it. and people would jump in and help him. But the point is he wasn't one of these stars that were sitting back and saying, you have to pull all the green M&Ms out of my the bowl of M&Ms for me, along with this particular wine or water or whatever. He wasn't that guy, and that was very rare in Hollywood. And I thought it was very important in a show talking about a life well lived, to show you that part of him too, because you can see how excited he was. And this is an amazing concept, because he's going out and buying original art. They have one of those. I don't know how they dispersed them throughout the Sears stores or whatever, but this is when Sears was really putting forth, you can get the vacuum cleaner, you can get the washing machine, you can have art, original art. And we're bringing you Vincent Price, who is an art critic and an art connoisseur, to go out there and get that for you at a price that's affordable enough for you, the blue collar guy, to have a piece of art in your living room. It was big back then to have stuff like this, to have the matching china and to have the, whatever it was, the new split leaf palm in your, in your living room, because that's what you're seeing on TV. And it was a really cool time that people were really reaching. Of course, they wanted to sell art. They wanted to make money. But it really did seem like this was the beginning of, they were trying to make it, you can buy it on time kind of stuff was starting too. And now you see decades later, this was late 50s, where that really snowballed out. Now everybody's just living on credit cards to get new credit cards to pay those credit cards. And it's gotten way out of hand, and I think that pendulum's going to swing back. But even though it swings back even to the point of we're just trading, or where we're just really watching where our money goes and trying to buy quality instead of, cheap stuff that breaks, we're starting to get that appreciation back. I hope our kids do. But we got to remember these times too. Not everything was complete propaganda. Sears behind it, like I said, was going to try to make money, but they weren't overcharging for this stuff either. That was his deal, that you had to keep these at a price. So he had to go make a good deal to buy it from the artist. Now we're feeding artists that probably wouldn't have sold stuff. We're also having other art that's getting back in the circulation, and it's original art that you could buy yourself instead of buying it at a gallery at a crazy price. And it was really something. I thought it was important to put that out there, because we just remember, him in The Pit and the Pendulum, or House of Usher, or isn't that the one where he buries his sister alive because he thinks the guy she's going to marry isn't good enough for her, so he kills her instead and laughs the whole time. He's just demented in a delightful way through all these movies. But then to flip-flop and be that kind of guy, it can be done. We don't see it a lot lately, and if it is out there, you don't hear about it, So I just think it's important to remember that this kind of thing actually existed, and I think it's important to see that people can be this way and balanced, to play these characters and still be this kind of person on the outside. Very interesting stuff. So our last little thing here, and then we'll get it. What we're going to do is we're going to shut it down for here, but then I'm going to play for you, hopefully without interruption, The House of Wax. I have not seen it all the way through for decades, and I think it'd be kind of cool. So here we go. This is the last little thing, because I want you to remember what he was really, really good at too. Boop, boop, boop. Yep, that's it. Play for me.
Starring Vincent Price, who, inspired by a seductive woman, is overpowered with lust to kill. Peter Lorre, too sensitive for both the life he lives and the lives he takes.
Butterfingers.
Boris Karloff, the Ancient One, with a fount of sweet memories.
Alexander the Great embalmed in honey, so they say.
Abundantly blessed, Joyce Jameson, an unhappy, unkissed bride.
Aren't you coming to bed, husband?
Rhubarb, the cat in the house of unholy horror. Amazing Joey Brown, shockingly amazed. And inimitable Basil Rathbone.
Cover to serve!
Whose wrath will slash you to the bone. A mad killer, like the angel of death, stalks his next victim.
You're here because you're dead, Mr. Black.
The hell I am!
I'm just going muted. I'm so sorry. So there we are. Our wonderful Vincent Price. Sorry, guys. So he was just a fantastic character, and I've gained a lot of respect for him. I think it's so odd that we characterize people and put them in this, in these boxes, but he seemed to be able to reach out of that box. He never, I don't think he ever felt himself stuck. I think he, again, gave the people what they wanted. And if they wanted him to be this character, if they wanted him to, kill these people with Pit the Pendulum or do the Raven. I know he loved theater the best. That the last thing he did, Oscar Wilde, it was great hit, sold out, extended play, all that. He went all around the world and did his one act play. Look into that too. That's the magnificent. The narrations when he does the soliloquies, where he does the Raven and the Sphinx and I can't remember all the different ones he does. That he's got all of these specials and stuff. They're all over YouTube. Go back and watch it, because if you can't find good stuff now to watch right now, give it some time. I think it's going to clear up, but let's not rush it. You can go back and watch some stuff that's already out there. Laura is a wonderful movie. Again, I highly recommend The Whales in August. Just all these different ones, and give tribute to somebody who did it right and probably deserves our attaboy, Just a decent character all around. Okay, so sorry for all the mess ups. Sorry for all the techie stuff. Again, sorry for last night. It worked out great. We watched A House That Would Not Die. I'll always try to throw something like that in. Thank you to my mods. Thank you for everybody dropping links for my PayPal. We are demonetized on YouTube, so we're not getting those anymore. You can give Rumble rants over on Rumble. If you aren't over on Rumble, please follow the Rumble link in the chat. Thank you, Ted. Wonderful mod. And hey, Connor, Lord Connor, how you doing? Go over there and follow. It's free. And you can drop tips or whatever you want to call it. They call them Rumble rants in there from $1 on up. You can be a member there. Thank you and hello to all my wonderful members that are over there on Rumble now. We are showing things on Rumble that we cannot show on YouTube. Tonight we are showing The House of Wax with Vincent Price, 1953. And if it shuts down on YouTube, we're going to follow me over there to Rumble, but we have a few people watching on YouTube. So if you want to continue to watch it there, I'll do it as long as it goes. And it'll be in full over on Rumble. So thank you again. Sorry for all of the tech issues. And please come and join us over on Rumble for the other shows we're showing on there. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night at the movies. I haven't quite decided yet. It's between two. It's either going to be Poltergeist. I've got a good copy of that one because I think there's a lot to learn ghost-wise and haunting-wise and interdimensional through the veil kind of stuff and other things that really could hold back a group of ghosts and cause this kind of thing, what human beings do to cause it for themselves, and all of that is in there. There's a lot of lessons and a lot of telepathic stuff, a lot of energy manipulation. There's just so much stuff in that movie to learn from. So it's either going to be Poltergeist or Odd Thomas, which is just a great movie with quite a bit of truth in it for Dean Koontz. No kidding. And I just saw that the other day, and I said, man, that's another one. And I've got some others in the queue, too. So tomorrow morning, I'll decide what to throw up there and what works. And that'll be 8 o'clock tomorrow night. That's our Tuesday night movie. That one is only on Rumble. And I hope you'll join us. We have a good time over there in the chat. So welcome to everybody in here tonight. Please sub. Please hit the like. And I'm going to play the outro. It's just a short outro. Please stick with it because the movie will start immediately after that. And I will no longer be here, but I will be in the chat. And thank you again. I hope you learned some things about Vincent tonight that you didn't know before. I enjoyed looking into him. I miss Steve. I had a lot of things that was going on with Steve too. So I kind of tried to shift around and get some other things in there. I hope he's doing well. Everybody is so sick and I hate to hear that. So again, build your immune system. Look into things that build your immune system. There's wonderful stuff out there being done. Look into that because you got to kind of take control of yourself. Don't trust everything on the shelf. Look into that app. A lot of people told me that they were having great results with that scanning app where you can scan the UR code on the food. It tells you how it's rated so you know what to buy and where your money is put best. And that is a free app for that. So just look up in Google Play or whatever, your app store might be and find that. I forget what it's called. If you guys remember what that app is called, please drop it in the chat for everybody because again, Odd Thomas is a good one. I don't have a commercial free copy of that. So if somebody's got that in their quiche and wants to send it over in my email, I will gracefully accept it for tomorrow. The sad part about it is that actor, his name escapes me right now, but it's just a young kid. He did a great job. He was looking forward to doing the next one, and he died in an unfortunate accident. I believe his truck knocked out a gear and rolled in on him and pinned him between. I guess he was opening the gate, and the truck rolled and pinned him between the gate and his truck, and he died. And it was terrible. And I thought, okay, who you get for that? Again, when somebody hits a part so well, it kind of makes a name for them. And I hate it when they mix them all up like that, and you have to keep changing, like James Bond's. I won't even comment. But anyway, they did get a young man to play. I hear the next one, Forever Odd, is coming out in 2025. So we'll see. Chekhov. Yeah, that's it right there. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was. Yeah, okay. Yuka is the app that you can scan your food for free to see if it has any bad stuff in it, chemicals or otherwise. It's also for cosmetics, for hand lotions and things like that. So always remember, don't put it on your skin if you can't eat it, because your skin is the largest organ in your body. And if you put it on your skin, it is getting absorbed into your bloodstream. So start being mindful of that stuff. Start taking care of yourself. Get organic raw garlic, make Cisco salsa. There's a reason for all the ingredients in there, even if you can chop up fresh tomato, because there's healing qualities in the tomato that also carries the healing qualities of that garlic into different parts of your body, your bloodstream, your lymph nodes, past your digestive system, into your lower intestines. Kill off that disease. Most of those things, the viruses and stuff, harbor in your lower intestines and wait for your body to get just right and fertile, like a seed growing, and then bam, you're sick. Something comes along and it hits you. So, listen to me. Eat the damn garlic. All right. Breathe the damn fumes. Get it into your head. It has to touch what it heals. If you had a cut, you'd have to take the juice and put it on the cut, and you'd have to eat it internally because infection gets in your bloodstream. Understand these things and help yourself. If you have to go to the doctor, if you're one of those who feel like you got to go to the doctor, take the medicine. This is just food. But around here, that's the kind of stuff cures stuff. So look into those things. Take care of yourself. Be good humans. We want you around for a while. We need our light workers. I love you all very much. And I think I would like to nominate Mr. Vincent Price in the Light Worker Hall of Fame, because if he didn't bring joy to people, if he didn't bring kindness and a gentleness and even a good role model, as far as this is what my talent is, this is how I'm going to put it out into the world and make a change, a lasting change, a great ripple through time, Vincent Price did it. So there you go. Who's this? Anton Yelchin. Okay. There you go. Yeah. And he was in the Star Trek as well. Yeah. At 27. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yep. Another 27. Gone too soon. That's for sure. If as on our way out, if you know the actor that's taking on the Forever Odd role, I know there's 8 books. It's a great story. And if you're into the paranormal supernatural, Odd Thomas is a great series. I have to recommend it. It really is. And there's some truth behind it. It's a little campy, kind of like Ghost, but man, the truth in that movie, I hate that, some of it's kind of joke. You have to take the truth with the comedy. You know what I mean? So there you go. All right, guys. So good night, everybody. We're going to just put up our outro, and then I'm going to put on the movie. I love you all. Thanks for